Tell me honestly, would you still watch this vlog about Iceland if I told you in advance that this was one train wreck of a trip? There were some good moments, but there were so many challenging moments. Let's not mince words. There were some nightmarish moments, like scary, the stuff that nightmares are made of, serious, life threatening stuff. I'm not exaggerating, I'm not joking. This is how things went down. Driving off the road in ice, getting stranded in the middle of nowhere in falling snow, driving the most scary road of my life, getting stuck in weather where you fear for your life and you have to drive in that, and almost, for the first time in my life, almost missing my flight. All that happened in the short 4-day trip in Iceland. Stay with me and I'll start the story. The trip to Iceland was challenging from the start. Even from the planning stage, I wanted to go because I wanted to see the northern lights, but I could not get any of my friends to come with me. And on this trip, I did want to go with friends for two reasons. One, Iceland is very expensive and it did live up to its reputation of being very expensive. It's the most expensive place I have been so far. And second is that because in order to go and see the northern lights, I would have to go to some more like middle of nowhere kind of places, and it would be good to have somebody, for moral support, for sharing long evenings, and also for the expenses. Both the expenses of the car rental and the accommodation, they would be good if somebody could share them with me. So I tried several times. None of my friends wanted to go. Then finally, for one plan, my friend Roberta said that she would be ready to go. She would be willing to go. And she and I have been on several trips together, so we get along fine on travel. So it was perfect. We planned it, and it was end of February, beginning of March that we planned for like 4 nights. And here's how it went. On the day of the travel, I got up very early, got ready, and then got my train from Doncaster station. I had to actually come back when I was in the taxi to go to the station. Came back from the corner of the next street because I had forgotten my water bottle. And this water bottle is a pretty special one because it has a filter in it. I'll tell you more about it some other time. But that was the only thing that was out of the ordinary. So got to King's Cross pretty easily. I had booked first class on the train this time. And the first class on the LNER trains is pretty nice. I could open my laptop and work on there, and they offer you food and stuff. Nice. So then from there, I took the train from the St. Pancras station, which is just across the road from King's Cross. So remember that if you're getting connections in London, you can take any of those stations. They're just across the road from each other. So went from there, and this time there was one thing special. In my gear, I also had a Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses because I had been wanting to get some footage that I was missing, where I am very busy, my hands are not free, and I need to take some footage. I had tried I think you might have seen some footage from that in the past vlogs, but it was not good. I tried a body cam kind of things that you could clip onto your pocket. None of that worked. So this time the Ray-Ban Meta, they were worth their weight in gold on this trip alone, because there were many situations where neither of us could shoot anything with any of the other cameras. We have the footage from those situations only because I had the smart glasses. Okay, so you will see some footage from there, and they can only shoot in portrait mode. So I have to put this footage in there, which is in portrait mode, in a video that is in landscape mode. But hopefully you will appreciate the content is really important for those situations, and you will not mind the aspect ratio being changed. So on this train from King's Cross, from St. Pancras to the Gatwick station, Roberta joined me on the train itself, and then we got to station. We got to the airport very easily. We had some time that we could eat, so we went to tortillas and got some burritos. They were nice. Then flight was also okay. It was a 3.5 hours flight with EasyJet, and no turbulence, which is something I like a lot. And it was a good landing as well, because when you are in these winter kind of location, or sometimes island kind of locations, you can have crosswinds and stuff. This was not one of those times. I had a headache in the flight, which did not go away until the night, so it's okay, I could still operate. So we landed in Keflavik, and this is an important stuff because Iceland has these two main airports, the Keflavik and Reykjavik. Reykjavik is the capital city, but the airport in Reykjavik is a domestic airport. And Keflavik is an outlying suburban kind of city, which is 45 minutes from Reykjavik. But the airport there is the international airport. So when I was booking it, it confused me no end. I had to do some Google searches and ChatGPT advice. Finally, I figured it out. Okay, so this is capital city doesn't have the international airport. From the station, from the airport, we were supposed to pick up our rental car. And also one thing that we needed to do, which was to buy alcohol. If you want to buy alcohol in Iceland, alcohol is really expensive. From bars and restaurants, very expensive, prohibitively expensive. But even from supermarkets, it's quite expensive. So the best thing is to buy it from duty free at the airport before you get in, and then you can just carry that in. So that's why they have duty free shops on the lending side as well. Okay, so we got there, bought a little bit of alcohol. I was gonna drive every day, so I did not want to drink anything, but I had one drink one day after I had done all the driving for that day, and there was a reason for that. I'll tell you that later. So we got the airport from there, then we picked up the rental car. Rental cars, it annoys me a lot that whatever you book, you don't get that car, that brand, you get something similar. And I've seen that in Slovenia, I've seen that in Iceland as well. Thankfully, I did not see that in England later on, like last month when I booked. So they gave me the car. Long story, we'll tell you later. That will be a separate series in itself. Okay, so let's get into for car rental, usually you have to pay the deposit from a credit card. They don't take debit cards. In Iceland, they did not bother. I had money on the debit card. They said, yeah, I will take that. The only difference is when they return it to you with credit card, it will come back to your credit card immediately. Like within a few hours, they will release it, the deposit, and you will get it instantly because it's just a lock on the money. With debit cards, they actually take the money. It's a transfer, and then they have to do a reverse transfer, which takes like 3-4 days. So even with the Monzo card, it took about 4 days to come back. Anyway, so I had already paid about 200, and then I paid another 240 pounds. This is in pounds for the car, and another 444 pounds for the deposit. Okay, one thing I should tell you. When I had booked the accommodations, I had booked several accommodations for different nights because we were going to go to 3 different places in Iceland. Each one of those sent me an email, like a welcome email. This is some information that we think you should have. And in those emails, there was also a recommendation that people ask me for recommendation about which car rental company we should go with. I kind of suspect that they don't ask, but these accommodation owners did say that this is the good company that we can recommend, which was a green cars or something like that. It was green, definitely. I clicked on the link and I checked the cars that they had and I checked the money. It was super expensive. Yes, even with Iceland, I had booked with economy bookings, and this will become very important later on when things go wrong. So I had booked with economy bookings, and their prices were much better. So I had booked, I think, about something like 400, just under 400 for 4 nights, whereas with the green one, it was about 500 something, and then insurance and all that was going to be extra. So don't fall for that. Do your own research. Go with kayak.com, go with economybookings.com, or some other service like that where you can do comparisons between different providers. Okay, so we got the car. The car they had given us was Suzuki S-Cross. It was a 4x4. You need a 4x4 in Iceland. And I'm saying this many times. I know that this will become more important later on when we had issues. But you do need a 4x4. And you need the tires for the ice as well. We did not have those. We asked for that. Like, yeah, it has snow tires. It does not have snow tires because snow tires actually have chains on them. These did not. So whatever, I did not insist on that. There was going to be extra as well, but I didn't insist on that. I was like, if this is going to be okay for this weather, then fine. So it wasn't. Then they told us where to find the car in the car park, and they gave us a little map. This is where we are, number 3, you go to number 2, and this is where you can find it. We went out, it was snowing again. Iceland was living up to its name. There was snow everywhere you looked. Everywhere there was snow. And it was snowing fresh also on top of our heads. So we had to walk around a little bit. We finally found it. In the car there was a screen and there's an app on the Android phones called Android Auto, which is really good, that you can connect your phone to the screen and then you can see the directions on the big screen that the car has, and also you get the navigation step-by-step directions from the car's speakers. So that's really good. You can also do your messages and calls, etc., but you should not be focusing on those things when you're driving anyway. So we found the car. We tried to connect our phone with Bluetooth. It did not work. We figured out that later, next day I think we figured it out, and it had to be connected with the cable. So on this particular day, I had come prepared. If I'm planning to rent a car, I take this little, I can give you a link if you want. There's a little vacuum holder which works really well. It's very small, so it doesn't take much space in the luggage, and it's magnetic. The only problem with that is that you have to have a ring attached to your back of your phone. So I attached that to the back of my phone case and it works perfectly. So I just used that and we were able to get going with the navigation and everything. It was already dark at this time. It was like 6:30 or something. It was already dark, and driving in a strange country on a strange road on the strange side of the road, like driving on the right hand side again, it was a little bit weird. It was actually nerve-wracking, but I managed it. It was okay. And Robert is a good passenger. There's a reason I'm saying that. One reason is that you do not judge her later on when things get really, really scary. And second is, I want other passengers to be like that as well. So what do I mean by that is that she takes that as a responsibility, being in the front seat of a car. I have seen her stop in the middle of a sentence, just stay quiet, when she sees that there is something on the road that needs my attention. So she pays attention. And on this road, it was, oh my god, I needed her help so many times to actually drive. But she doesn't play loud music. She doesn't focus on, touching the different buttons on the dashboard. She pays attention to the road and she talks so I don't fall asleep, but she doesn't talk if I don't need it. So ideal passenger in the front seat. Okay, other people can learn from her. So one thing that happened wrong in this little drive was that it's about a 45-minute drive from Reykjavik, by the way, from Keflavik to Reykjavik. So in about 5 minutes, I was driving, within a couple of minutes, I started feeling like the engine was making a lot of noise. And it's an automatic car, so you can't mesh gears. But it was making a noise like you were meshing gears, and the heat sensor, the heat gauge, it was going up, so it was revving up, so revolutions were going very high. I was driving slow and then I sped it up and it was not doing anything, so it was still making that noise. So ultimately I stopped on the side of the road. It's just kind of scary when there's so much snow on the side of the road. I was scared most of the time in Iceland. You will see that as a theme. And once I stopped, then I turned the light on and I checked the gears, and yep, the problem was with the gears. In my car, which is also an automatic, the last gear on the back is the drive. So I just pull it all the way back and you start driving. In this car, there was a drive, but there was also a manual option behind. Like last gear was a manual one. So I was driving in the first gear this whole time and trying to pick up speed. So once I found that, moved into gear, moved into drive, it was perfectly fine after that. So we drove from there to Keflavik, and on the hotel, when we got to the hotel, there was one issue. I was driving very slowly because strange road, like I said, it's dark and everything. There was one issue that we got to the car park and the car park was locked, and we needed a code to get in the car park. And according to the email that I had received from the hotel, I was supposed to get, like 24 hours before, I was supposed to get the code in an email so that I could get into the car park. No, they had not sent an email and I had not followed up. So that was my fault as well. So here we are stuck in front of this locked door, and then another car comes behind us and stops behind us. They're waiting for us to, like, what the hell are these guys doing, kind of thing. And this whole passageway leading up to the car park is very narrow. Only one car can go at one time. There's no place to reverse, there's no place to turn around. Then another car comes behind the second car. So ultimately, after I checked my email a couple of times, then I got out, talked to the driver behind me, explained the situation. He was like, "Oh, right, yeah, okay." So that's it. There was a reaction, nothing else. Then the guy behind him came up and asked him. So I was talking to the second guy in English, and this guy talked to the second guy in Icelandic. And so he explained the situation. And this second guy he just walks off to the car park door, enters his code that he obviously has, and just walks back to his car. We do appreciate his help because he got us out of a tight situation, but his attitude was one of like, why are people making such a mess? Why are these people in my country like blocking my way? His attitude was really, really he's like pissed off. So he did not say anything, just pissed off. He walked off, went to his car, sat down. So we thanked both of them and got back in our car and drove in. It was a very small car park, free parking. There were spaces, so there was a tight space that I could fit in because the car had reversing cameras. From there, we came back out the way we had come in, and this time the door just opened from the inside. It just opens normally without any code. And we went to this little market called Kronan. There are several supermarkets in Iceland, but be aware that their pricing range is different. Okay, so Kronan is one of the cheaper ones, and there's one called 1021 or something like that, which is the most expensive one. So be aware that there are these strata, there are these levels of expensiveness even in the supermarkets. Generally, if you go to a country and you don't want to spend money in restaurants and bars and stuff, you can get stuff from supermarket. In Iceland, be careful. Well, in England also that thing is there, but even then in England things are much cheaper in supermarket. Anyway, so we went to Kronan because it was going to close in another half an hour, so we went there first rather than going to the hotel and getting the code sorted out. I bought a bunch of stuff. I usually go overboard, and ultimately once I got the receipt, then I did a calculation and found out I had bought groceries on my first night in Iceland costing £87 and 28 pence. 87 pounds. It was not a lot of stuff. It was more than what I needed, but it was not a lot of stuff. And I'll show you how much I bought, what I bought. And in another country like Thailand, it would have cost me about maybe 25 pounds maximum. In Slovenia, it would have cost me about 30 to 40 pounds. In Iceland, in Lisbon, it would be about 25-30 pounds as well. So 87 pounds. That gave me a jerk, like a wake-up call. Come on, stop spending money without checking prices on every single thing. Okay, so this time now we came in via the main entrance of the hotel, which was open, and there was no reception. There was only a bar counter. So we went to the bar counter, asked we need a key code. Oh yeah, okay, come on, let me help you. Everybody was very tech savvy in Iceland, so she picked up a little tablet kind of device, sorted out a code, and then gave us the code. We had to remember the code. I don't remember anymore, but we had to remember the code, and that would work on the outside door and the room door as well. Cool. So we got the code, came in, we were loaded with groceries, and got into our room. The room was pretty big. It had twin beds. Like I said, accommodation was expensive, so we had to share, except one place in Hela. We had a house there, and that was so nice, so lovely, very big. There we did not share a bedroom, but here we had to share. So it had twin bed. We ate some of the stuff. Let me show you the video of what I ate. It was called fleur or something like that. This is the skyr that everybody keeps talking about. Skyr, wild berry, and I hope it's vegetarian. Very parfait, gluten-free. Yeah, so I'll put this stuff in there. Now we'll see whether it's worth the hype or not. I'm going to admit it. This is the skyr wild berry. Everything nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I had seen vlogs, people talking so highly about this thing. It was alright and not bad. I could finish it, but I would not order it again. Okay, So anyway, once done that, then I just set up my devices on charge. It was a nice room in the way that it has a really big picture window, kind of like a really big window, and we could see the road from there. Nice view. But the view was of nighttime, city traffic, and rain. So nothing to write home about, literally. And also, this was raining, so there was no chance of seeing the northern lights tonight. So I just put everything on charge, did not even bother to copy my footage for this day. And the good thing with the Raven Meta smart glasses is that the footage goes into my phone anyway, and I have set up a synchronization with the Google Cloud so that everything gets backed up automatically. You don't have to worry too much about that. So yeah, this was my first day in Iceland. It was an indication of things to come. Next day, we were driving away from there, going to a place called Vik. And that was the day that I got my first two scares in Iceland. So you will see that. Yeah, but we did some sightseeing as well. So don't miss that. This is going to be I'm not gonna say a lot of nice things about Iceland. Sorry, I'm not. I'm gonna be very truthful. I'm not gonna be diplomatic about it. But there were some nice things that I will mention. But also, it was an eventful kind of a trip. So if you want to learn from my mistakes, if you want to see what are the things not to do in Iceland, then yeah, watch this series. And yes, please subscribe. I do a lot of stories of my trips from all these countries, and some of them are very pleasant, some of them are lessons to learn. So, yeah, I hope to see you in the next one when you have subscribed. Otherwise, have a nice week. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.